joining. Thanks, Gaz.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Technical issues out of the way. We are live. We are on TikTok. Yeah. We are on YouTube. We are across all podcast platforms. Jose Noya, Lee Kemp, Inspiration Nation. Ryan Boniface is here with us in spirit, if not in person. Right, Joe. I keep flicking between Joe and Jose, don't I? But I will try and stick on brand to Jose. Jose, it's my turn to offer out a quote this week.
Go.
And I am going for... I've got to squint down to read this with my squinty outside, so you see the top of my head on my camera. So this is from Oprah Winfrey. You may have heard of her. She's kind of a big deal. Yeah. And she says, if you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. And I really like that.
Can you repeat that again for me?
I can.
I really like that.
If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll always have... Oh no, you'll never have enough. I screwed it up right at the end there, didn't I? I was going to say you'll always have less. It's the same thing.
If you appreciate what you have, you'll have more. If you don't appreciate what you don't have, you'll have less. That's what it's sort of saying, isn't it?
That's it. And I think it's that if you appreciate what you've got, you'll, appreciate it, for want of a better word. And you'll be grateful for what you've got and you'll take that in. And if you're always looking at what you don't have, you'll never feel like you've got what you need, because you're always looking ahead. There's always a reason to do it. And I've lived both sides of that coin, which is why I think that really resonated with me when I saw it. So as we go through this quote thing, Joe, I'm just, every time I see something I like, I'm clipping it, I'm saving it in a folder, and hopefully we'll build up a nice list of these to go through. But that one just struck a chord with me, and I've bumped it to the top of the list.
I loved it. So what is it that came to mind? Why did this jump out at you? I know you said you lived on two sides of the coin. What specifically can you point to?
So, yeah, I'll talk about me on it in a bit retrospectively, and then a couple of other thoughts I've got on it. So I have done that. I have lived that where I want a car that is just completely out of my means whatsoever. And I've got a car, and quite often it was a good car, but I would want something that just wasn't obtainable at that time or wasn't necessary at that time. So you're never grateful for what you've got. It's always just, one day I'll have that. One day I'll have that. You're always living vicariously through this imaginary version of yourself in the future where something's... I wasn't aspiring to achieve something and then that was a byproduct of it. I was aspiring for the material thing. It was, and that's, I don't think, we talked about it in multiple podcasts. I don't think that's ever a healthy thing to do. And I have lived that life where you are always kind of wishing, and it is wishing's a word, wishing for that material thing that you haven't got, that you want to have. And it does, I think it completely puts the blinkers onto what you actually do have and what is around you. And I spent a lot of my life as is now in that place doing that sort of thing. And I think I'm on the other side of that coin now. There's an ironic thing that if the right word is, I have more now than I did when I looked at that, when I was that sort of person. But I don't necessarily have the things I was aspiring to then that were like out of reach, but I'm definitely appreciative for everything I do have right now. I don't have that, struggle in my head that I'm not that person I imagine myself being in my head, because now I am the person I want to be and I'm grateful for what I've got. I'm probably not articulating it very well, but you get where I'm going with that. And I am on that side now. And it's gratitude's thing we talked about a lot, and it's no one defining moment where I change from one to the other. I'm just very consciously aware that my brain doesn't work exactly the same as it used to.
I really like that. And I'm just going to say, we've got lots of likes on our live. Thank you so much. Already 1.4k likes. Can you look at that? That's because of the back of what you said. Oh, thank you so much.
Massive appreciation for that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And please ask a question. You deserve to ask a question. And Lee will keep an eye on the questions, but I want to come back to you on what you just said. Materialism is what come to mind.
Yes,
that's
what's
coming to mind. And I agree with you. It's something that I'm still trying to change. I still want things. Don't get me wrong. I would still like something, but the thing that's changed for me is that I don't need it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I want it, but I don't actually need it. I want it. It doesn't say I'm going to curb my ambitions and not want to strive, because I think there's always a thing in that you should, there are things you want to aim for, but I think getting away from materialism is a really good thing. I think it can drive sense of dissatisfaction that it can lead to, no, what is this all point for? And we don't get satisfaction, like I agree with you, from material things. We've talked about the 5 regrets of the dying, haven't we? And we talked about, you don't get to the end of your life and think, well, I had a Porsche, or I had a great phone, I had the latest iPhone, or I had the latest Google Android. You don't say that, do you? You tend to go back and think about, you hear about people talk about experiences, oh, remember when we did this, or remember. In fact, we've done this on the podcast, haven't we? Remember when we started the podcast.
100%, yeah.
I mean, I might have gone on a bit about, oh, look at my new microphone. I had a bit of a joke about, oh, I've got a new microphone. But that's not what we talk about. We talk about our experiences together. We talk about when we met. And that's the thing that I think has really helped me get away. I'm not saying I'm cured from materialism. I'd love to be cured of it. And I think we get so many messages around materialism that we can get caught in that trap, don't we? About, oh, I need the latest thing. But Stoicism is another thing that I've really enjoyed reading about, because it talks about, do you actually need it, and can you work with what you have and appreciate what you have? Because that's really great. If you can eat and have the Maslow hierarchy of needs, your basic needs met of a house, or somewhere to live, somewhere safe, warm, and some food, and you've got some sense of family or people you connect with, not necessarily family, but you connect with some people, then you really do have, a great life. And we're very lucky here in the UK because we've got running water and all that, and I've really dialed into that. But it's not to say I still wouldn't want, someone said to me, here's a lovely car. I was like, well, that's lovely, thank you, but I'm not striving for it. I think for me it's more about purpose.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before as well, like, what's the legacy I want to leave behind? In fact, my daughter graduated yesterday, and those are the moments. I'm so proud of my daughter getting a first degree in forensic psychology. I'll never forget that day. No one can buy that. You can't buy that. And if you get caught up in materialism, you might start to sort of say, oh, you're there, but you're thinking of the other things instead of actually enjoying the moment. That's why I put my phone away, actually. I actually made a point of letting my beloved take photos. So I really want to drink in the moment. I didn't want to look at it through a lens, and I was really conscious about this, and I really wanted to do that. And I did that, and it was wonderful. And even now, I'm still sensing the inspiration of what my daughter went through, and what a great human they're turning into be, and the value they're going to add to the world through that. And they're going to do a master's, so I'm really proud of them. But that's what I'm going to remember when I come to my deathbed. I'm not going to say, oh well, look, I had the latest phone or latest car or whatever. It's not to say that those things can't make your life a little bit easier, or you feel a little bit better when you're doing them, but it's not the things you're going to be talking about when you get to the end of your life. So for me, I took this last time, I want to get away from materialism, and that's one thing I am really working on. In fact, I'm going through a little bit of purge at the moment. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. I've got so much stuff.
How's that going
this
for
came
you?
to a head, actually, when it's quite hard. I don't know how you find it, but this came to a head because when Mum passed away, my mum had loads of stuff, and so I want to get rid of my stuff so my children don't have to get rid of the stuff. So I'm going to start purging, but I find it hard because I'm a bit of a hoarder.
Okay.
I like to hold on stuff. As Lee, you probably know, I've sent you little stuff, and I've sent you little images of things.
You have, yes, yeah.
And those things I've been throwing away and burning. But I thought I'd take a photo because at least it's there as remembrance, right? It's somewhere there. But it's a way of detaching from it and just letting go of and getting rid of stuff. Because what am I going to do with that? Literally just be hanging about. And they say that holding on to things like material stuff takes energy as well. So it's all about release of energy and having more space to do things. It gives you more energy. Yeah. You don't have so much stuff. Anyway, sorry, I've been a bit of a rant there, but
no, it's not a rant. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things in this, Lee. What you're talking about, going back to your saying about appreciate what you have, and if you don't appreciate what you have, essentially you'll want more, and I think you'll never satisfy that hole. I think that the way our society is designed is that it's always wanting you to want more.
Yeah.
And the key about it is detaching from the wanting more, and actually, what do I have now that I can appreciate, and actually, what do I actually need to function at a level where I'm good with life, right? But I think that's where the work is. It's there, isn't it? Because we can appreciate I've got hot water, and we can talk about this hot water, and I am really appreciative I've got it, right? But we can all fall into that trap where we can go, well, I want more than this. Well, is this all there is? And that's the trap I did fall into, and I can testament to that because I talked about it in the podcast. I think that's one of the things that, when I had my mental health, was one of the things. This is it, you're not appreciating all the things. And when people say to you, when you're in that space, oh, appreciate you got a family, and when you're in that space, but you don't appreciate. So there's probably people here listening to the podcast right now that might be struggling with their mental health, and me saying things like, oh, appreciate what you have. It's all right for you to say. You're going to think that. That's exactly what I said, because it wasn't about that. For me, it's about I had no purpose. So that's what's clinging on to all the other material things. And thinking, oh, well, is that it? I needed purpose, and that's what I've discovered through podcasts and the coaching, and that's why I'm an advocate. That's why I eulogise about it a little bit, and this podcast, of course, I eulogise about because these are the important things in life, and we must appreciate what we have right now. And when you think about people like Viktor Frankl, where we're in a concentration camp, virtually had nothing, found purpose, and those are things that inspire me to think, well, if a person in a concentration camp can find purpose, then there's hope for us all to find purpose in the lives that we have, right? So anyway, Lee, that's what sparked off that whole conversation. But any thoughts on any of that? And
That's
any
good. I
thoughts on
really
your
love that, Joe.
quote?
Oh, I'm really
Sorry?
echoing back on your side now for a technical
Are you?
suggestion. Yes.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I haven't adjusted anything.
No, but I can hear
Is that
myself a
better?
lot.
Is that better?
Live test in the recording. Yeah, that's good.
Is that better? Okay.
I think so.
It might be because I moved the microphone, perhaps.
No,
I'll
still,
leave it.
right. We'll persevere. So, just to run through those, I know it's all really good thoughts on that, Joe. Appreciate that. And it's, the other one thing I was thinking when I was going through my head and talking this is people could say, well, that's right for Oprah Winfrey to say, be grateful for what you've got around you because she's got a lot. So it's easy to do that. And I do think that sometimes I was challenging myself, like, is it easy when you're in a more comfortable position to kind of pontificate on things like that and suggest these things that, you know, are easier to come to terms with? But the thing I used to say to people at work years ago when, you know, they talk about, I want to earn more money, and that was their main driver. And not that that's not, you know, that's why we got to work for, not it's a bad thing, but my own personal learning that I would say to people is the ironic thing is you only become comfortable with how much money you earn once you stop worrying about how much money you earn. I said that's the ironic thing. The point for me where it really clicked was when my number one driver wasn't just how much more money can I get, but it was what can I get out of this? What's my fulfillment? What's my achievement? What do I want to do? And as I did those things, the reward then followed, if you like. But it's only because I said the ironic thing is that the way to make it happen is to stop thinking about it. And I think that's, you know, the extreme version is Oprah Winfrey. I've got no doubt she lives what she's saying there and lives and breathes that. And actually that's why she can be, I mean, obviously insane volumes of money attached to that success, but that mantra is part of what makes it happen. You can't switch that on once you get there. It's a building block of the puzzle to get you there.
Yeah,
and I just think that's the main bit I think that really stuck out to me. But I wanted to save for nearer to the end.
No, I think that's really interesting. It's really good because you're right. I think someone Chris talked about don't chase money, solve problems, or something like that. He talks about, you know, do the things that you think find fulfillment in the work you do. And I think through purpose is the thing that you do. And again, that's where you can fall into the trap of getting more money, but you end up in the wrong place.
Yes,
because you're chasing the money, and then you end up trapped because you're earning the money that you like, but you hate what you do, right? Because you're trying to chase the money. So I definitely am an advocate of what you just said there about finding fulfillment in what you do. Can you shape what you do right now to do the things that you want to be doing, right? What are your strengths? So I love that. And that's happened to me because I did exactly the same. You know, I'll go earn more money, I want to be a leader, all that. But then, you know, I love being a leader. But there are certain things that, you know, I'm glad, actually, some positions I'm glad I didn't get now. But I went for this, I'm glad I didn't get because they just wouldn't have been good. Yeah. And I would have been trapped. So, but now I've shaped to a place where I got to and we're doing coaching and also, and it's lovely. But we've been conscious about shaping, haven't we? I think that's the key, isn't it? It's be conscious of shaping it. What do you want it to look like and start doing things in those spaces? You might have to work a little bit harder initially at this first stage, but once you start getting to those spaces, you'll start to shape how you want it to be rather than you chasing money and then letting things shape you because of the money.
Yeah,
or you're
absolutely.
forcing yourself into a place because of money. And then you get trapped. And as Stephen Covey talks about, leaning your ladder against the wrong wall, it's very hard to then switch the ladder onto another wall. You have to then come down to go back up. And that's very challenging. It's very hard, actually. But I loved all you said there. And another thing about Oprah Winfrey, didn't you said something about how, it's all right for Oprah Winfrey to say, appreciate what you have. But do you know the story of Oprah Winfrey? Her background?
Oh, yes, yeah. And this is why I say it's easy for people to, and that's why I say, and it's not my thought, so to speak, but I can see that, and I've had this where I've had it when I've talked about like the switching of your brain for money thing, and I think it's been referenced a few times in some podcasts around those sort of, that becomes a blocker in people's heads. But it's the iceberg thing, isn't it? You're just looking at that and you're not looking at everything below the surface. And actually, adversity and tough times build those type of thoughts, and it is because of those thoughts that you get through it, rather than you kind of wallow in self-pity and it's all right for some, which is a phrase I really really don't like, because it kind of implies that things just happen to people through sheer dumb luck, which I think is very rarely the case. I mean, about half the time for me, but not all the time.
I love the humour injected in it. I always love that.
That's what I'm always here for, a bit of self-deprecating
Yeah,
humour.
exactly. I get too serious and Lee just lightens up the mood. I love it. I love it. Wouldn't be the same without it. Yeah, and Oprah come off a very poor background, and if I remember rightly, I think she was the daughter of a maid in a house, and her mum would be washing. And this is what you got to do. You got to hang out the washing, but literally they couldn't afford to have clothes. You had to have a sack as clothes. But Oprah decided that I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be a maid for the rest of my life, and made a conscious decision at that point that they were going to go and start doing things how they wanted to shape things. They wanted to start to shape it. And look what's happened to the Oprah Winfrey show. Like, I don't
Exactly.
I can't remember the exact route, but it was like pretty damn amazing what Oprah has achieved.
And like you said, it's a taking control thing, and that's what, again, the quote is on. It's a great quote anyway from someone who's successful. But I think that the whole story is what leads to that. Her as an inspirational figure for people, and it is, again, it's being grateful for what you've got at whatever stage that is. That doesn't mean you stop. Like you said, you really quoted it well when you said it's turning it from a need into a want, because it doesn't mean you stop wanting things. It's natural. It's perfectly okay to do, but you've got to distinguish between what is something you want and what is something you need, and be grateful for everything you have that you need. You can still aspire to what you want, but if your brain confuses them into needs, it's demoralising. It can be hugely demoralising.
Well, it's really interesting because I think it's either Ray Dalio or it was either Ray Dalio or Warren Buffett. I think it's Ray Dalio, but I thought, was it Warren Buffett? One of them, because I read something. I think it was either Ray Dalio. It said, all you got to remember, if you want what you got to remember is just have things that you need. Buy things that you need, and what is the minimum level you're prepared to survive at, but just keep your spending and needs and spending to that level, and then you'll have a happy life. If you can figure out what that baseline is, provided you've got that, you're good, you're happy, you're good. Anything above that's a bonus. That's how I'm looking at things. Like what I'm right now is great. I'm like you, Lee. I'm very, very happy. Anything on top of this is a bonus, right? So if something comes in and something happens and the podcast takes off and we're going, that's all bonus. That's like, oh my God, has that really happened? Because Ed Milet talks about it's not being grateful, but it's okay wanting another level. It's okay wanting that. It's okay building towards something because you've got purpose or whatever, right? That's still perfectly okay. But remember, that may not happen. It may or may not happen. And if it doesn't happen, well, how does that affect you? Like, be prepared that it may not happen, but work towards it. Like, this is what we're doing with the podcast. We're doing episodes. We're doing this. We're doing it all for free. And we do it because we love it, and we would love it to take off. But if it doesn't, we've left something great behind. We're doing good, as far as I can see, and we're having fun doing it on the way. And I actually do believe this is going to take off. I've got some feeling about this and momentum. I don't know where it's going to lead, but in fact, actually, I tell you what, this podcast has a brilliant impact on my work career. It's been so powerful, because when I talk about the things that I'm training and coaching, I can actually tell people I don't only do this in work, I do this outside work. Go and look at the podcast. Here it is. And it really does. It's really funny how it's added value in not the ways I thought it would add, but in other ways, which I didn't think it would. It's been a really powerful.
Yeah.
So again, I'm grateful for this podcast in all ways. It's just, it's fantastic. And I'm grateful for this. And going back to Oprah Winfrey. So I'm not saying, hey, we need this podcast has to blow up. It would be lovely if it blew up.
100%. Just
I'm really grateful for what it is right now.
On TikTok, Joe, because the likes are flowing in.
Oh my God, super
and Saf on there has said the podcasts are pretty good. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. And
thank you.
we got someone we've been asked if You can ask a question. Absolutely, you can. Ask away.
Yes, you can. Ask away. Go on. Thanks, Lee, for keeping on. That's great. Because sometimes I want to lose eye contact with you, but yeah, I struggle sometimes. I want to listen to you, but I also want to keep an eye on TikTok. I find that quite difficult.
Of course, you want to listen to me. I'm the inspiration behind the nation.
Oh, I love that. Love that. And I did one the other day called, one of the clips I released, I called it Appreciation Nation. Don't know if you saw that one, but yeah.
Of course. That's
Appreciation Nation.
right. So while the questions come in, if they're still there, I'll just do a quick. I'll do the housekeeping. So if you do like this, like the people on TikTok now, if you appreciate what you're doing, if you like us, follow us over on Twitter at ListenToIn, listen TOIN. Like, share, retweet. That helps us get the message out. Beats all those algorithms. And YouTube, TikTok, podcast players, wherever you are, hit subscribe, leave us a review, hit that 5-star button. Hitting subscribe is the most important thing, though. That really helps us again get up in those algorithms. Appreciate helping the growth. Apologies for the cough there. And if you like what we're hearing, don't just hit those buttons. Tell friends, tell family, get people to listen. That really, really helps us grow organically. And head over to inspirationnation.org.uk for merchandise. Sign up for Joe's newsletter, details our coaching service. Loads of great stuff going on over there. And of course, we are live each and every week. Just follow, subscribe, whatever the button is and whatever the platform is on both TikTok and YouTube. Just search for Jose Noya-Inspiration Nation and you'll get notified when we are going live as well.
Lovely. And sharing the live as well. Thank you, Saf. For
Massive appreciation. And in fact...
And also, I love that. I've just got that joke, actually. I love that. Actually, the pun. I've got the pun. I've just got the pun. I love... Austin said, may I ask a question if your school's a pun? There's a question. Ask us a question. And I just realised that. Yes, that was really good. But please ask a question. Saf, you've definitely earned the right to ask a
100%.
question.
And in fact, we'll say now, before we cut off, we are recording back-to-back today because... me and Joe are both away on our jollies next week, so we're doing 2 shows in one go. So if you are now on TikTok, just stay with us. We will keep going all the way through. And if you are on YouTube, we will be closing this live and we'll be opening another one in like 5 minutes time. Yeah, maybe not even 5, maybe 3. But I will now count us down, Jose. Anything left to say on my quote, or are we good to go to wrap up for the week?
Yeah, I'm good. Oh, takeaways. Surely, got a takeaway. Sorry, we've got takeaways.
I'm going to go with be grateful. Jose?
I'm going with it's okay to want more, but be happy with what you have.
Absolutely, I like that. No, it's good. Like you said, wants and needs, get them separated. That's my other takeaway. Right. Appreciate everyone. We love you all supporting us. Back next week. 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation. Catch you guys later. Right, TikTok, I'm going to leave you live. You've got options. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this conversation. I'd love to know. Put it in the comments below and I'll respond to every single comment because that's the commitment I make to you in this community. Also, don't forget to subscribe right over here because we need you to build this Inspiration Nation community, to get the podcast out there and to help other people for free. And also don't forget to hit that bell right over here because if you hit that bell, then you're going to know when another videos go live. And don't forget to check out these videos right here next to me because those are other podcast episodes that can really help you out. I really, really appreciate it. And lastly, don't forget to check the newsletter. The link is in the description below. That's where I can talk directly to you through the YouTube, throughout the social, because you can have a direct communication channel with me through the email and you can get to know everything that's going on with Inspiration Nation, ask me questions and even give me suggestions on what you'd want us to talk about next. So I'd love to see you in the next video. So please click on those links. Please follow through. Please let's get this community building. I appreciate you. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video, Inspiration Nation, and I'll catch you guys later.